Hey guys, it's Adrian. Unfortunately, after a very long edit, the audio doesn't sound as good as we would have liked. But nonetheless, here's the episode. Make sure you guys follow Mark on his Instagram and Spotify. Enjoy.
We have something special for you guys this time coming around. Yeah, Victor really outdid himself this time. Yeah, I know. It's really absurd. It blows my mind constantly. Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna top this one, guys. Yeah, I really don't. Cue the intro. Hello, guys. It's Two Latin Brothers Podcast, also known as T.L.B.P. I'm Victor.
And I'm Adrian.
And we have a really special guest for you guys.
It's Mark Pelli. What's up, guys?
Yeah. So,
Hola.
good. That was great. Awesome. Victor, you do the rundown how you arrange this, I guess. Yeah. So it kind of started with me just like every once in a while commenting on some of Mark's like little vibes he had on the piano or guitar. And I'd be like, great, awesome, I love the vibe. And then I commented on one of the stories, and then he just kind of said thanks with bare hands. And I just kind of started talking to him, hey, are you interested in being on a podcast? So I think, Mark, if you want to give the rundown of who you are for those who may not know,
Yeah. Well, no, I just wanted to say thanks for supporting me on those stories and stuff like that. I appreciate it, man. Like, the fact that people hit me up online and they like that kind of nerdy music videos. It makes me feel good because it's what I do anyway. Just sit around and make music. But yeah, it's a brief intro for me. I'm just a musician and singer. I write songs and I produce music and I write music for myself and also for other people. I've written songs for like Chris Brown, Trey songs. I play in a band called Magic. I'm a guitar player in that band.
When Victor told me it was you, he's like, hey, I've been talking to this musician, and he brought it up like super casual, like if it was, no big deal. And I go, okay, what's his name? And he goes, Mark. And I go, okay, so you guys are on a first name basis. Then he's like, he Googles you and he shows me, I'm like, oh, Magic. I go, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about now. Actually, we had the honor of going, you guys performed one Canada Day.
Oh, yeah.
We went to go see you guys.
We were on that one?
Yeah, we were in the front row when that happened. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I remember that show. That was really cool.
Yeah, we try to go almost every year. Yeah. There's been like a few one-offs like this, but like when the song Rude came out, I drove him insane with it. I had it like on repeat all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's cool. I'm happy you guys liked it.
Yeah, and I used to joke to my parents, I'm like, if I ever run into a situation where I propose to my girlfriend and the parents are okay, I'm just going to pull out my phone and play this song.
It's an easy way to do it without necessarily having to explain the situation. Right? Yeah. Listen to this song,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think it's interesting how you were saying, writing music and having that effect on people, right? Like, I guess it just shows how amazing or how connecting music is, right? Because it can connect us and draw us together, right? It has this, I don't even know how to, I don't think there are words to describe it, because like some songs are very emotional and they get you in somewhere, it's feel good songs, and you can be super depressed and turn on the radio or, jump on Spotify and whatever plays, and it makes you feel like it just changes the atmosphere to the point of no return, really, at this point. Yeah.
Very true, man. It's very true. Music's very powerful.
Well, I'm sure you have a lot of things to say. Yeah. Well, first off, big fan. Just gotta put that out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So to get on with like this small interview part, I love to get the behind the scenes of like certain stories or like little mishaps that happen behind the show, because those are some of the stories people don't normally hear or get to hear. What's one of the most awkwardest, or I say worrisome, things that's happened to you behind stage?
Oh, behind stage. Man, there's just been so many different experiences that have been awkward and weird. I mean, I have had very, very weird situations. Some that I can share with you, some not. The the most embarrassing situation that ever happened to me was when I was opening up for Million Five in San Diego, and just before I got on stage, I realized that I was having some connectivity issues. So it was more technical. I don't get nervous before. I get nervous about gear breaking down.
Yeah.
Because there's some things you just have no control over. So I had my mind on something that was not working correctly, and that was sort of occupying the part of my brain that should have been concentrating just on performing and just doing the show well. But what ended up happening is because I was sort of distracted with this other thing that really was pretty inconsequential in nature, I kicked out my chord during the guitar solo. So I was this part of that was I didn't let the hair down. I do this long solo and I step forward on the stage and go center. And as I was stepping center, I just totally kicked the chord right out of the input jack. And of course, immediately scrambled to figure it out. But in the time that I did that, because it's already structured and the light's on me, it essentially highlighted that I kicked the chord out. And so that was like the most awkward, embarrassing.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, there have been because at the high school I attended, I was part of like the stage crew. Unofficially, I was just like that guy who got like voluntold into it.
Yeah,
knew what I was doing, and I remember they were having a technical issue with the microphone this one time, and they were like a wireless set of microphones, and they were doing some play or something like that. I can't remember, but the person was in the middle of like the peak of the song, and the mic just cuts, and everyone turns and looks at me, and I'm like, hey, I don't know, this one's not on me.
I feel bad actually. It's really quite unfortunate, but usually the people that are in charge of doing the monitors.
Yeah.
Like the monitor engineer, or in your case, there when you're in high school, you're just a person who's brought up to help with the technical aspect of the performance. They always have a lot of heat on them, and if there's someone to blame, you're always looking at them first. Like, oh, well, what did you do wrong? But it's usually more complicated than that. It's not just that you've done something wrong. It's just that there's human error on so many levels that potentially make a wireless microphone not work. Because I've run into so many different situations with that sort. And yeah, man, there's just the list goes on for things that are kind of weird and unfortunate. There's a lot of great experiences too. These days I've just been trying to finish mixing songs at home during this quarantine.
How are you adjusting to quarantine?
Well, it's kind of funny. I put some things up on my story before because I'm like, my life is pretty much based on solitary confinement anyway. There's like quite a bit of introverted self development that occurs when you're just trying to work on music and do production, play instruments and stuff. And so I'm basically home. I'm doing the same thing that I was doing before. The only difference is I can't really go out to a restaurant and sit down or something like that. But other than that, I wasn't really, super socially active before. And of course, the other thing that did happen, which kind of sucks, that I play almost every week here in LA. And all my gigs got canceled. That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, that does.
I have this spot I play called the Rhythm Room, and we do like Motown covers every week. And, it's kind of fun. We stretch them out and just do some stuff. I basically sing the song and then we just have fun on top of it. But all those gigs got canceled. They're trying to contain it.
Yeah. No. It's been interesting, this whole virus thing. Like.
Yeah.
Especially since we're in Canada, like we weren't initially hit as hard, but recently the numbers have been like skyrocketing. They've like hit
been reading that exponentially increasing, right?
And it's actually even like in some like medical professionals are saying now that there could be like in every province anywhere between like 400 to 4,000 cases.
Yeah,
because it's just like on contact, right? And like. Well, actually, me and Victor, we're on day 11?
Yeah, we're on day 11.
We're on day 11.
Of quarantine.
It's
a very strange time period, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, also, like, the thing where a lot of people, like, there's something about, like, wanting to go outside. Like, when someone tells you don't do something, you feel inclined to do it more. Victor had a question he's been dying to ask.
Yeah.
Tell me, Victor, anything, man.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research on you, obviously. I saw you. I read that you were into like you studied piano, and you also studied guitar a little bit for jazz. Yeah.
Quite a bit of that.
Yeah. What drove you into jazz? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I started with piano when I was 6, and I was kind of forced to practice a lot. My parents
Were we all who fell into the music category?
They were very intense, for working at it. So I did, and I improved. But then jazz, I came to, I think a little similar to a lot of people it was just because, I'm trying to remember exactly where it started, but I was in high school, and there was just a jazz band in high school. And because I was such a guitar nerd in high school, everyone had to play the random instruments in concert band, like you play whatever, like trumpet or percussion, clarinet, just that. They let me play guitar, so I was the only person then in the whole program in the school to play guitar, and all I had to do was go in the back room and continue to practice. So I didn't need to do and I kind of felt cool about that. But then they started challenging me, like, "Oh, try to learn these jazz." Because at that time I was just working on some other stuff, and I did, and then was part of the jazz band in school, just high school nerdy jazz band, right? Mm-hmm. And and that's kind of what I really developed a passion for the music. I really liked and beyond just what people regularly associate with jazz. I don't really. I like all styles of it. I'm not so much into like the schmaltz jazz, when there's this conception of it being this kind of background music which you have a conversation on top of, and there's someone playing and you just immediately compartmentalize it in your brain as information and you don't have to think about it. It creates an atmosphere for you to enjoy yourself. I don't think of it like that. I think of it as the focal point. I would try to listen to it, it's engaging, and it really stimulates my brain, not the kind that I feel like I can have a conversation on top of. Yeah. And I don't mean any insults to anyone. For the people who enjoy having conversations over jazz music, or for people that enjoy the sort of music that you might think would be good for that purpose, like that's cool too. But it's just that was not it for me. I was really into like John Coltrane saxophone playing and how someone like Wes Montgomery played octaves so well and so cleanly. And I like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm really oriented to jazz. I really love jazz. Like I play a little bit of keyboard and guitar myself. Like I'm not the greatest at it, but
Oh, that's great, man! I'm so happy you do that. That's so great.
Yeah, we're both actually fairly musical. I play saxophone. I've been saxophone for since I was I want to say something like 11 years now.
It's amazing. I love saxophone.
Yeah, and then I think because he grew up watching me play and practice, and I was that saxophone player who once he figured it out, I tell people I became addicted.
Are you guys brothers or best friends?
Yeah, we actually are.
We actually are.
Like literally blood brothers, right?
Yeah, literally blood brothers. Yeah.
That's so cool, man. I love how close you guys are. That's so great.
Yeah.
So great.
The basis of the podcast is actually on the fact that I haven't spent enough time with him.
Yeah.
No, but I can see how close you guys are, just even for how you interact and stuff. That's really great.
Yeah, well, I think it has to do a lot with our culture because we're Latinos, so it's very tight knit.
Love Latin culture, but so that's a very broad thing of where are you guys from? What's your ethnicity?
We're actually half Mexican, half Salvadorian.
So half Mexican, half El Salvador from El Salvador. Okay, cool, nice. But I have a lot of friends from both those two places.
Yeah, people often ask so what's that like? Because oftentimes people between land culture there are certain different similarities between them.
Yeah.
How does that work out? I'm like, well, with one hand I grab a taco and with the other I grab a pupusa.
Okay. So I got a taco and a pupusa at the same time. Exactly. The pupusas are delicious, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, I had a music teacher in high school who I had to do a playing test in front of him. And my mom's like, "Oh, I'm going to make some pupusas when I go drop you off. You give them to him." And we gave them to him, and he was ecstatic. He was jumping. It was like a little kid on Christmas morning. He's like, "I can't believe you guys did this."
That's your mom's smart. That's for sure.
And then, and then he goes, "Go warm up. I'll be there in a second." And he came in. I played I think 5 measures, and he goes, "Great, you aced it. Get out." And he just kept eating it.
That's it. I knew it. That's so great.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing.
Solve any issue. What's that sauce? It comes like some sauce, red sauce with it. Or
Yeah, it's
something
like a tomato sauce.
It's tomato sauce.
Everyone has their own variation of it.
Yeah. Some people put salsa verde on it.
Yeah, it's
Salsa verde on it.
yeah. Like green tomatoes.
Yeah, green tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like another word for it. I can't remember right now.
Tomatillos.
Yeah, tomatillos is the other word for it.
Tomatillos?
Yeah. Well, that's what they call it. I think
In Mexico.
in Mexico, because Mexico, ironically, has different names for fruits and vegetables. Like for some reason,
From like
For all
every
of them?
other different Spanish dialect.
Is there any that's the same, or are they all different?
well, some of them are the same, and some of them are like, for example, there's a fruit in Latin America called zapote,
Zapote?
but in Mexico, it's something else called the mamey, which is like a variation of.
Oh yeah, mame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what it is, all right?
And Cuba también. Mame.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Cuba
Yeah.
también, yeah.
So they
But those
change.
are delicious, man.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever had a mame shake?
No, I
Mame?
haven't.
If you put a little ice cream in there, you put the mame in there, and some sugar, it tastes amazing. It's the
Right.
greatest thing.
I got to call now.
So write this down.
Check it out, mame shake.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Me.
Put it on the list of things to do.
Oh, trust me, you have that, you're good.
Yeah.
changes the perspective on everything.
Yeah.
The problem with being in Canada is you don't have so much tropical fruit come here. So like you have to go to like usually like any city with a port has it. So like oftentimes we'll go to Toronto and you will find like every fruit and vegetable you can think of. But because again they have the port there, so like things are coming right in. And they don't leave that city because otherwise it just spoils.
Also, in order to acquire exotic fruit, even if it is at a port, they need to pluck it like early on. Take it and have it mature elsewhere, and it'll also go rotten. But because of that, it doesn't really taste good. You can't beat having it, in a tropical climate. It's just like not knocking, anything about northern climates. I mean, I grew up in Canada.
Well, we know exactly what
We know exactly what you mean.
It's really cold. It's not an insult. I'm saying, it's from a tropical perspective.
It's like we actually one of the experiences I explain to people oftentimes is with a mango, because we get mangoes here. I'm like, but you've never had mango fresh off a tree before.
Oh, it's so much better.
Once you
much better.
There's no going back.
Having a mango in Thailand. Have you? The mangoes that I've had growing up were it's just that same. You have to get them when they're too not ripe yet, and they just don't taste good. They're hard. They don't get sweet enough. Every now and then, you luck out and get one that's like half decent. You're like, wow, this mango's really good, but actually, it's just like not even that good compared to one that's really good.
Actually, land of our grandmother, she has a peach tree going like in the middle of like the land, and you can just go up and grab a peach and just enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, I love that.
There's that's one of the few rare instances that you experience. Like. Because I feel like especially in northern culture, we often like, you go to the grocery store and it's already there, and then, like we've lost that freshness that the rest of the world lives, right? Like,
good point, bro.
Yeah.
Good point. Although now we have to be extra vigilant, even in situations where you can get fresh fruits, that's at the moment,
Yeah. That's very true.
Sacrifice deliciousness for viral infection.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Because you lived there recently. Victor went a few years ago to Mexico with my mother, and I didn't go because I was working at the time. But he one of the things that we have to do there is we have to buy bottled water because
not body unadapts or has to be
and it was really funny because looking back at it, I'm like, I can't imagine like what it must be like for someone who's never had water that does, like from like the other perspective of like they came here and then drinking our water.
Yeah.
One of our aunts came to visit, and she's come multiple times up, but every time she comes, she's like, the water, it's almost sweet when you drink it. Like she's like, I don't like.
It's not the same water.
Yeah. She's like, I can't describe it, shit, but there's something. I'm like, and me and my brother both look at each other and we go, it's the bacteria.
That's so funny. It's the fluoride.
Yeah, that too.
Makes our teeth nice.
But it was really funny because she was just like, the water, it tastes like, she was like looking for like something to like pinpoint, and that means the lack of bacteria.
Yeah. No, but it's amazing that, in Canada we got water source that's fresh enough that you can drink it. on the tap. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, America's trying to talk us into selling them water, so
Yeah.
Talk us into it. We've been doing it for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
export lumber,
was-
water, all that. Yeah. I mean, it's just we need to reduce the amount, or else it's gonna get out of control. Yeah, no, they've been discussing that for a while.
yeah, it's
Yeah, crazy, but
it's interesting, but I mean, I feel like as like a faith of goodwill, really, at this point, it's gonna happen. Whether
well, yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna be due to goodwill as much as economic growth.
oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. I mean, especially right now, everyone's economy is kind of like in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As of late.
Well, I mean, I feel like people should be helped. And, I agree that it's that's something that everyone should have water. It goes without saying, but yeah, it's unfortunate all around the world. People struggle to find clean water.
Yeah, it is actually when I met this kid who he started like a well foundation for Africa many years ago, and I ran into I think his mother in another organization I was doing work with, and she was telling me that they've like expanded and now they're not just doing Africa, they're doing Asia and other places of like the Middle East, crazy expansion. And I was like, wow. I'm like, I remember when I met him when I was like 13, it was like a pilot project.
Wow. And now it's expanded.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, we all had to quit our jobs and like jump right into it. She's like, it's crazy. And the kid himself, he's like, he's like, I don't even know how to like express how this kind of happened. Like it just like, you start something and then it just kind of, escalates exponentially. He's like, as long as the need's there, he's like, we're going to do everything physically possible to fulfill that need.
It's great he's doing that. That's really amazing.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but if I remember, I will put it in the description and I'll link all his stuff below if you want to donate.
Well guy.
Yeah, well, guy.
Yeah. There's so many things.
Yeah, to drift into more music again.
Keep derailing.
Yeah, we can. But side conversations are the best kind of conversations, no?
Great.
I was gonna ask, who are your like, who do you idol when you were like young to like get into music? Who are you like the people you were like listening to and stuff like that?
Oh man, so many.
Yeah.
Like idolized so many people. I think it really depends on per instrument. For singing, I've always really been drawn to soul music, like 70s, the mid 60s soul music. From Sam Cooke to Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye. I love people who sing from the heart like that, and there's like a specific vocal tone and depth, richness of sound. Then, of course, I feel like I don't even get close to doing it as well, but that's kind of educationally what's helped me develop as a singer. A lot of gospel music, and for piano, it's been a lot of stuff. It's been a lot of classical music, but then beyond that, a lot of in jazz. I really idolized Brad Mehldau. I thought he was an amazing piano player. He's so great. I learned a lot just by listening to him. Of course, he's like one of the greatest of all time. So there's, it's more from an educational perspective as opposed to me really sounding like him, which I feel is an impossibility. But I'm just trying to learn what I can. I really love Robert Glasper's piano playing the last few years. I've been listening to him a lot. And on guitar, it really ranges from like Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan style. Really like John Mayer's playing. I also love a lot of jazz guitar. And a lot of gospel guitars as well. Really like Isaiah Sharkey's playing these days, checking him a lot. He's amazing. On drums, like there's so many. I got a really good buddy in Vegas who I play in a band with. I should check him out. His name's Dre Energy. He's super dope. So, I mean, I really like that specific, it's like a kind of style of, I'm not to marginalize people or put them in a box, but like there's a gospel drum style of play, that is really, really, really great. Because it kind of, there's a lot of six tuplets, a lot of fast fills, a lot of single stroke hits, but then the drums are just being like really explored well. It actually, because you got a Latino, you all obviously checked out the music of, different areas. And I'm super into that too. Like I'm really, really into learning, montunos on the piano and how to play like a samba rhythm properly on the drums. I've checked a lot of Brazilian music and a lot of salsa from different countries. And, I'm super, super into just, rhythmic music, A lot of it came from Africa, and then how it kind of evolved through different islands and different parts of Latin America and found its way into different cultures after that too. That I find that really interesting, and I'm not like a master of those genres. I'm a student, I listen to it and I try to have it influence me. And then when I go to make my own original music, it basically sounds like throwback Motown soul music, So I'm always kind of end up in somewhat of the same sort of place, but I'm trying to draw from all this. It all kind of comes into me, and sort of, whatever I find beautiful about a style of music. Maybe sometimes it's something complicated, sometimes it's something simple. It doesn't matter. It's just whether you find something to love and appreciate in a song, and then do your best to include it in your playing or in your understanding of music. Sometimes you don't even need to play it back, just kind of sort of visualize the progression or the rhythm.
For sure. I tell Victor all the time, the most beautiful music is usually the simplest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be, for sure.
I find that so almost bizarre, because, that must be so complicated, or, to play that riff on the guitar or that piano riff or whatever the riff is, right? Like, it must be so complicated. And then you look into it and you go, oh, it's actually not as hard as I thought.
Yeah, totally.
It's one of those things where, you find beauty in simplicity, right? It's
totally. I mean, I find beauty in simplicity. I find beauty in complexity too. But I have it just, it's all there. There's just so much stuff to draw from,
Yeah. Talking about the Latin thing, me and him have a hard time keeping up with both charts, because we have to keep up with the Latino charts, and we have to keep up with like the Canadian, the American, and there's like this whole like mixing.
Well, the good news is the Latino charts these days it's all just every song like reggaeton. So but I mean, I'm waiting for a shift, but like I'm not hating on it. I love it. I love that beat. You can't never get
like
old.
we all have those moments where like I just need to listen to this for a moment.
Yeah, for sure.
And then like
so dope.
I have tendencies of like every now and then, like he'll walk in and I'm like playing like Beethoven for whatever reason. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I just need a moment. I just I'm like, I just need a moment with the classical. I'm just
what's your Beethoven go-to? Are you using that as an example, or
it's an example? I go through like all his symphonies. Like there's like a compilation of them on like YouTube for like how many hours?
Nine beautiful symphonies. I studied those super close. Those are that body work is incredible.
Yeah, it is. There was
I love Bach's work too.
Yeah,
Bach's amazing. I just spent one summer memorizing the two-part inventions.
Memorizing it?
Yeah, it was. His that counterpoint is what you get from Bach, and that counterpoint you can sort of apply to many different styles of music. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Oh yeah, like I think it's interesting how a lot of those like composers developed certain stylings of music that like even like the theming of it we kind of copy today in like our modern, and it's like and back then it was like revolutionary, and now it's right, and nowadays they're doing it, and like and people even, and I'm sure a lot of artists do it even subconsciously, not knowing that they're doing it.
I mean, I guess in Bach's time, the way he sort of wrote music was kind of, I guess, arguably different than some of the pop music we listen to today. But there's certain similarities that you can find. You can draw similarities, especially with, I think this is going to sound really nerdy, but on an intervallic level between thirds and sixths, the way we harmonize, the way we picture harmony and resolution, like creating a bit of a tense moment and resolving it. But here's a good example of Bach. That idea where you kind of like you have this your twilight on top of these octaves going, like this like that kind of like interval.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that coming through, or does it sound weird out of the?
No, it's coming through. It's coming through.
Yeah, I'm just like example, of like basically. I mean, I can see why like that type of counterpoint you're not going to really hear in music these days. Not just as verbatim, like here's like a Bach Sinfonia or something like that. No, unless you're playing classical music, you're not going to hear it. But you hear what it kind of foreshadowed concerning what a pleasing intervallic relationship is between notes. That's and also he was the it's called the well-tempered clavier.
Yeah,
that's one of the early text he released with a bunch of music, and that's when they started to kind of make every key the same distance.
Yeah.
You know, chromatically, like between a C and a C sharp, D, D sharp, D. Before that, they could only play in tune in certain keys, like in C major, and then the further you went over the overtone series, the more it started getting out of tune and sounding discordant, weird. And then that was one of the first times when they started to sort of come up with a tempered system. And then, so that really affected music in a huge way, because if you didn't have that change and shift, then the way we hear music and appreciate music would be entirely different right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I like how you put it, how it's pleasing. That was the right wording for it. I was like, how is he gonna?
Yeah, well, I mean, and this is just my opinion. You know, I mean, like, I mean, it's totally valid. No, like, that's not. But
yeah, no, but like, it's totally valid. Like the perspective of it, like it's very good. I guess I can see the appeal of it, right? Like, because that's really what it is, right? A lot of people. I remember when I started music, my parents weren't that like musically oriented, I guess is the right word. And my dad would walk over and he'd just see sheets of music everywhere, and I got really into writing music and stuff, but I never kind of, like, I didn't really explore it more than I should have. I kind of look back at it and I'm like, I probably should have done that a little more, but I didn't. But he would be like, this is so complex. Like, I have no idea what's going on the page. And I'm like, this is year 3 into it, you know? It kind of didn't happen overnight. And
it takes a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's one of the things that is kind of a little underappreciated in music. You know, like, the whole technical aspect of it, right? Like, music is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but like the technicality of it, and like the timing and the precision and the silence over the audio, over the noise, over the, you know, the dynamic and all of it, you know,
it can be. I mean, you just have to try to find fun in it, so it doesn't like it. But yeah, you're right, man. It's tricky, and certainly not to sound like a musical elitist, but definitely certain styles of music are harder to play.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I think there's like a common misconception. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to start a band. Okay, you play bass because you don't know how to play any music anyway. So, okay, you play bass, you learn that, you know, and of course, just initially the idea if you're playing one note at a time, it's a really simple song, there's only 4 chords in general, then yeah, you can almost hold your own even after like 2 months of playing or something like that. But beyond that is this entire vast array of music, and it requires a lot more time. It's not all that simple, you know.
Recently, I've been listening to some more bossa nova kind of stuff. I've been getting into that by playing guitar. It's really interesting, actually.
Since you're into that, you should get this book by Nelson Ferrer called The Brazilian Guitar Book.
Write that down.
I'll listen back.
I think that's the guy's name. I'm trying to remember if I'm getting the wrong name. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, that book's really great. It then helps you with Brazilian style guitar playing, which, you know, of course, used for bossa nova, Tito samba. It's really good for all that music.
I tell Victor all the time, like, every now and then I'll play like some jazz music, or I'll listen to something and I'll be like, you know, I wonder if I'll ever get to that level in like my playing. And then Victor turns to like, the guy's like in his like 60s. I'm like, so he's like, you're 22.
Takes time.
Yeah, you know, the time, right?
Totally takes time.
Yeah,
it takes a lot.
And one of the things I think I live by a lot is like, I guess it's like practice, but don't practice to imitate. Practice to make it your own. Right? Like, because that's really what it is, right? That's why we say every artist has their own unique style, right? Because they made their specific instrument their own, right? And
I agree, buddy. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with attempting to imitate, and in so doing, realize that you have your own style anyway. You know, because sometimes like the process of imitation can help you discover things, but you don't want to get so obsessed with doing something exactly like another musician is doing, because, well, I mean, okay, within reason, it's still good as an educational thing to do that, so you can push your tech. But should you try to do that and you realize you can't, that's okay too, because you're still learning. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example, like trying to sing like Stevie Wonder. Right? I listen to Stevie Wonder all the time. I try to sing like Stevie Wonder. I try practicing the songs, do the best I can. I'm never going to sound as good as Stevie Wonder, you know, and I'm okay with that. Like, it's not like I think of myself and I'm like, oh, I suck, I'm terrible. Like, he's almost like a messiah of what he does. And he's incredible. He's like, he's a black Jesus, he's a king. And so basically, like, but he reigns above all, and then you learn from him. You do the best you can. That doesn't mean don't ever try to do it because you know that you're going to suck if you try to do it. I don't think that. You try as best as you can to sing a song like "Do I Do" or "Overjoyed" or whatever, but then make it your own because it's really hard to sound like him anyway. So you're going to have to make it your own. Some people get close to imitating like Glenn Lewis and stuff, but I'm just there's some amazing singers out there that are capable of doing a similar vocal performance, but it's just like, this is the things we learn from, right? Just finding people that are amazing and trying to do what they do.
Yeah, I think that's one of the other things of music that is really interesting, right? Because like someone could write one song and then that song inspires like 5 other songs and those 5 other, and it's like this chain of like, songs that were inspired from like one song. And looking at it from that perspective, you're very right in saying that, learning to imitate is good, but there is limitations to what I guess is knowing your own capabilities as an individual, right? Yeah. And acknowledging like, this is what I'm capable of. This is what I can bring to the table, right?
Sure. Yeah. And especially I think that would be the case when it's now time for you to perform. Mm-hmm. Like, don't get in your head about how many people are better than you at the various things that they can do, But when you're in the practice room, I think it's okay to have a little bit of analytical outlook on your development. Like, not in the sense that you're saying disparaging things in your mind about yourself, but just in the sense of, this person is really good at this. I am going to try to do what they do. I'm really going to try. I might fall on my head and I'm not going to be able to do it as well, but that's okay. Try. Then when it's time to play, you got to throw that all away because, the audience doesn't know about your daily struggle to improve at the various erroneous zones that you've identified in your playing. This is your own journey, Yeah. But I mean, I'm with you, man. Like, I totally agree with what you guys are saying. I'm happy that you're both musical too, and you care about it, and have a love of it. That's just for me, it's like life saving. I feel like if I didn't have music to apply my obsessiveness to, then I would be very lost.
I get exactly what you're saying.
It's a good thing, the only problem I notice is I have my own fault with this. My fault is I'm so into music and I'm always doing it that my self-worth is completely tied into my music. Yeah. So like, it's very hard for me to disassociate my like feeling in general from people's perception of me musically. So for instance, if I release a song, not that I need the validation, like I don't care about stardom or anything like that. But if people are not connecting something that I do, it makes me feel so like I failed. Again, it's hard for me to get past that, and that's my own struggle, and I'm trying to develop techniques to improve that way of thinking about it. Also, mixing, because I do so much production. Oh my God, it's so hard to know when you're done.
Oh, no, that is probably the biggest annoyance.
Yeah, dude, it's so hard because you can hear subtle improvements.
Yeah.
As you continue to obsess over mix, making it better and better and better, but then you start getting diminishing returns too.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're making improvements, but really sometimes they're so subtle and it takes so long that you can refer to something you did last week of the same song and it arguably sounds even better than where you are now after so many more hours of further work on the same song. It's pretty crazy.
For sure. I guess that shows the perfectionist in music, right? Like, some of us have like, it has to be perfect, like down to like
totally. You're striving for perfection.
Yeah, striving for perfection is a little overwhelming at times.
Yeah, I mean it certainly is, especially when you're considering beyond just because I'm not in any way criticizing people's experience with music, but most people's experience with music is someone is singing at them. Do they like it or not?
Yeah.
That's usually the extent of like a musical experience for people. Like, do I like the singer? The words that they're saying to me, do I understand what they're saying? Am I connecting to it? Like, I like this song. They're not necessarily thinking about, is there 60 hertz loud enough on the bass?
Yeah.
What's the compression ratio on the drum set? How do we, transition from the bridge into that breakdown chorus and not have it sound predictable? Yeah. What kind of effects are we going to, and I don't mean that need to even think about all this, but I'm just saying, like, that's like, these are the things that are floating around my head. Of course,
I oftentimes if I really like a song and it's like one of those songs that you gotta hit repeat, I will go out of my way and look for an instrumental version of it because I want to hear all the little nuances of it, right? Like that to me that's where I find the real music because I'm very analytical in that aspect. I'm like, I want to know at the precise moment when the drums kick and when the guitar riff starts, when the transition from this to this, and
start counting with the song.
Yeah, I know. And it's one of those things where like, I was explaining this to a friend of mine. He goes, bro, you're destroying music for yourself. I'm like, no, this is what makes it so much better because I see how the artist or the artists went about doing it, right? Like, it's not about, like, I mean, yeah, we can all just listen to music and it's great and all, but when I go into this other, like, level of, like, investigation, shall I say, it's like this, like, crossing over point. There's no return from there. And I'm like, this song is not as appreciated as it should be.
Yeah, for many reasons. Yeah, it's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Deep rabbit hole, guys. You can go way down in it and get lost in it.
Oh yeah.
I'm in this way at the moment because this quarantine thing, and then I'm trying to finalize 2 songs to release as a double A side, and I've set a date for myself to have them done this Friday. So I've been going like 17-hour days basically trying to mix these songs like over and over and over again with the smallest details, and then I listen to it and then you think that it's done and I'm like, I noticed something else, and it's so subtle, like, okay, I could just fade in this transient ever so slightly so that there's no breath here, like all this at some point you gotta just learn to let it go, and be like, okay, cool, this is good enough, it's not perfect, but this is fine. People they're either going to like the song or not.
Yeah. I think that the really interesting thing about music is, like, regardless of the song, I think that there's always someone who will connect to it, regardless of what it is.
That's true. Yeah.
I think
I can see that. I can see that. Something for everyone, right?
Oh yeah. Like everyone has their own thing, right? Like, people say, oh, I love country music or I love rock music or I love pop music, and they self-identify with these genres, which is, like,
interesting too. Yeah, I've always thought that was interesting. People do identify with genres specifically. Beyond even the sonic aesthetic of the genre. Sometimes it's even a fashion-based association, or it's something about how cool it makes them feel. Like to be in a certain frame of mind when listening to that music. You can't help but regularly associate things with occasions too. If you're like in the gym, you want to hear a certain type of song to hype you up.
Yeah.
Or if you're having like a romantic dinner, you want to hear that, the type of music that associate with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. Yeah. There's music for everybody. I think that's what makes it so beautiful. So many different cultures with their indigenous music. Yeah. And then even within pop music, there's so many different varieties to choose from.
Islands of it.
Yeah. And now anyone can make it and anyone can distribute it.
Yeah.
It's like a brand new, amazing shift. Well, there's some drawbacks to it as well, in the sense that there's 30 to 40,000 new songs uploaded on DSPs every single day. But because of that, I guess the amazing part is, like, we have this incredible amount of music, and the problem is that we still don't know how to curate.
Yeah. Well, I guess, like, the other thing too is, like, there's, like, sometimes there's oversaturation.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And, like, I find that, like, sometimes, especially, I feel like it happens a lot more in pop, where almost all the songs sound the same. Like,
it does, exactly.
We entered this like point where all of them sound the same, and you're like, I remember there was a good time between 2016 to 2018, where like every song sounded the same on the radio.
Yeah.
I was almost annoyed by it. I got to the point where, like,
before that, brother, there was the whole wave of dance music,
but like
from like early 2000s, like, when was it starting? Like 2007 or something, where it was like, it sounded like Lippy and shit, and stuff. For sure. I'm not hating on people like that music, but I'm saying, like, that every song sounds the same. Every song sounds, and it's true after that too. It's the same, but you know why that is too? Is because of algorithmic reasons on the DSPs. They're going to serve you what you like, So if you're constantly searching for reggaeton or something on DSPs, then you're going to get that. Everything is going to sound the same, And also, from a radio station's perspective these days, they're only going to play music that is already streaming well, based on the analytics. So they're not actually looking for music that is new. I know they're going to say that they are. I don't want to sound all jaded, but they're not trying to identify something that's brand new. They're trying to identify something that really does sound like something else you already like because of the familiarity with it. Not an exact replica of it in the sense that you're going to even get sued because it's the same song. I just mean so similar that it makes you think of the other song that you also like. That's what they want.
Yeah,
and that's
what was that? The song that we did, Despacito. When Despacito came out, when it started to hit the radio, shall I say? They're like this new song, and me and Victor look at each other. We're like, the song's already platinum in Latin America. What are you talking about, new?
But that's a common thing too. Like when you have a version of a song that's already starting to do well, then you have even more people hop on it and try to make it a bigger smanger. Like look at that same happened with the Old Country Road. So it started blowing up on TikTok, and then it went to a couple other places, and then was it Billy Ray jumped on it too, and then it became even bigger because there was even more of a substantial investment on its behalf for its promotional purposes. And this is a common thing. So if you see a record chart, like top a chart in another territory, you can expect that they're now going to do a push in a different territory. And they may not add another A-list artist to the song in order to increase their numbers further.
Actually, I had a friend recently with the Super Bowl that happened when Shakira and J-Lo performed. A friend of mine goes, "What happened to Shakira? She hasn't performed or hasn't released anything, that's been substantial, like in a while." And I go, I'm like, little does he know that like a year ago she dropped an album that went like platinum, like
Spanish.
A Spanish album that went platinum, like with.
I like her singing in Spanish. I think I'm a fan of her music. I like her in general, but I think she's better in Spanish than she is in English. It's kind of been hard for her to connect with. She connects, of course, in her way, but like I think she does. It's a little more compelling in Spanish. Because it's like quivery vibrato. It almost sounds like struggling to sing, but it sounds like vulnerability in Spanish. Whereas in English music, it's kind of like not singing that well, kind of thing.
But and then I told him this, and he goes, "Oh, I see now." And then I'm like, I think it's a barrier between I don't understand over like I don't know. Right. And it's like, it's really interesting. I'm like, there are so many artists that are releasing music all the time, and
great music.
And I find it funny how actually, who was it? I think it was Prince Royce who released he's another Latin singer. He released
I worked with him before.
He released his English album. I remember when they were playing one of his songs on the radio, like this new artist. I'm like, this guy's already like a platinum hit singer. Like, what are you talking about?
I know, I get it. It's almost like if they did the same thing with Maluma right now and put him out into the market, and then they're going to say the same thing. Brand new artist Maluma, got all number ones. It doesn't matter because it's whatever helps the promo.
I know, and
I wish it wasn't so financially driven, but it really is.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think that's like the interesting part of it all, right? Because we're Latin, we see those happen, right? Where like we already know that this song's charting, like already number one, and then it comes to all of a sudden I turn on the radio and it's in Spanish, and I go, why are they playing Spanish music in Canada? And then it's like, and they're like, this new song just released, and then I'm like, go onto YouTube, it's already got like 1 billion plays. Where are you at?
I know. Well, I think we'll probably see another shift soon, but that when Justin Bieber released Sorry, that's kind of when you saw pop music shift in the last 3.5 years to be like even like non Latin artists that are making music that has nothing to do with Hispanic markets. They're still using that beat to make a smanger, right? Because they noticed that that's a sick beat. And then they're going to ride that wave until people are just like, damn, I can't handle this anymore. Which is the same thing that happened with those standard, I'm being mean, but I'm saying, like that, listening to for a while, and you want this, like, I'm not listening to this music anymore because it just sucks, I feel that way about the reggaeton beat. I'm just saying that they're going to they'll oversaturate it in pop music until they need to make another shift. I wish it was different, but it's like it just goes in waves, and then it'll be something else, and then they're gonna oversaturate that one too.
That's very true. There are just waves and waves and waves. Like I remember Yeah, for sure, Waves. You
I,
have,
I feel like I'm being like not fair because I keep on saying they are doing this, but it's really not they specifically. We're doing this collectively because we
yeah,
enjoy music and we can't help but find something dope and then ride that wave for a while until we're like tired of it. You know? It's just it's more of a societal thing, and the indications that people are having to sort of serve music to be similar in nature is based on market research.
yeah.
So I'm
But
not
it's
trying
also
to
like
anyone of us specifically be like, you're the problem. There's no, it's just, this is what people are doing.
yeah. And I think too, it's like also like the other aspect of it where like I'm sure there've been instances where like artists are doing it, like again, not aware of it. It's like, oh, but like there have been a few lawsuits that have come up where like people claim that it's similar to their song. And it's like, and I love going into like the deep dives of it and like looking at the actual music and like the chart and then comparing it. And then I'm like, well, I mean, they're only looking at these two measures of like the song and then the two measures of this song. I'm like, but I mean, they sound like rhythmically they're the same, but like the note or whatever it may be, different. And where they go after those two measures.
Yeah. So which one are you thinking about that? About? I'm curious to know specifically because
right now nothing comes to mind, but like
because one of the first examples of that happening where the case was won against them was when Rob and Thicke and Pharrell got sued for blurred lines.
Yeah. That was
one of the first times he got sued, not based on a top line, but on the beat.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of lawsuits be like, oh, you stole this melody or whatever. But okay, and they go to court and then they figure it out. But this time there was like no melodic content that was stolen. It was literally the instrumental.
Yeah.
Which has been happening for a long time, that people steal instrumentals, right? But they just, in this case here, the Marvin Gaye family identified that, and they're right. Clearly, the Pharrell referenced that record, and it sounds almost identical to it. Like they're like, okay, let's recreate this vibe. So I get it, but it was just but now because of that, it opened up a whole new lawsuit based on vibe of record beyond melodic content. So now, if you can identify, like I remember, I even thought this myself years ago when I heard that Thinking Out Loud song come out by Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
I was like, this sounds exactly like Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. Not even a bit. Like the chord progression is like literally, it's like. That's like, that is Let's Get It On. That to me, that was like this new song Thinking Out Loud. You literally just track the chord progression. You think about it, it's like, is it a jack? It kind of way is a ripoff, but it's also a brand new song, so it makes it kind of tricky. Then you can start suing everyone for everything,
Oh yeah, no, I think it's like also like I love like going through certain songs and then you find like this sounds like this, and then you Google it and it's like, oh yeah, they sampled it from this song and that person
totally.
Like, oh okay, so like it's all good.
Yeah. Well, that's one way to do it too. Is like, don't even pretend that you didn't sound like you're like you shout out the original hook and you have a sample of the other song like this, because they do that too. Like with a lot of songs, like they'll reference some like '90s dance song, and it'll be in the new song, but they're like it's not like they're trying to pass it off as a new song. That they're like actually including the hook of the original song.
Oh yeah, and I find that interesting when like that happens. It's like this song sounds like this song, and then you go, wait a minute. Let's ask the internet if they know.
And usually there's something there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's happened so many times where I'm like, this song sounds like this song, and then you go into it and you look into it and you go, oh, okay, oh, they credit, okay, so they're, it's not that upsetting anymore. But it's like, it's, I don't know. We've gotten to this point now where it's like the technicalities of it now. Like we look at like every little part of it that is just like,
totally.
Yeah, and it's getting to. I think it will get to a point where it's going to be exploited, and it sort of kind of is now, like to certain degrees, but it might get exploitative in the future. Is that even a word? Exploitative? Exploitative.
Word? Yeah. No, I mean, in the entertainment business and pop music, people have been exploited for a long period of time. Yeah, it's already a thing, man. So you're totally right. But there's still a lot of beauty there and a lot of great music, and we could. It really depends on perspective. I feel bad. I feel like it's my fault to start identifying some of the things that are unfair in the music industry, or why this is happening or that's happening. But really, beyond that, it's just great music. You turn on Spotify, find something you think is dope, and listen to it. it's like there's really no rules there. It's just all up to you. Whatever kind of experience you want to have with music is the experience you can have with it.
For sure, yeah. You have any questions, Victor? You have lingering in your head?
Let's see. How did you feel when Magic first got together? Like, what was like
when we first got together? I kind of felt similar to many other bands that I've been in when we first got together. But it was, I guess the music making initially for Magic was really, really easy. We just naturally made music together well. We did a lot of production work together, went in and just kind of crafted the songs. And it was like, because I thought there was no pressure, it was more just, let's make what we think is good in the pop reggae style. So we kind of had like a brand, and there was like this umbrella we lived it under. But after we had the massive success with Rude came the problems. So like, I guess the initial stage of us coming together was great, and I'm not going to say that it was like terrible or something after that, but there was just a lot of pressure to redo what had already happened, and in a way it's kind of tricky because of the novelty nature of a song like that. In a sense, it almost summed up the brand based on the one singular song, as opposed to it. Like there's some artists that you can come out and it'll be almost like a lifestyle music, and there's numerous songs, and not any of the songs are even smash. There's not one smangarang out of the bunch. It's just a collection of good music, But with Magic, because we had that massive single, there was so much pressure on delivering more massive singles, and I think that was a problem for us. Something that was hard. Kind of felt like you were chasing your tail because you had this so much success and then trying to do it again. It was tricky, But I still very happy about that whole experience. In general, I feel lucky to have a song and a project do so well for me, because most people, even people who deserve to be successful in music, it doesn't necessarily happen. I wish that it was based on merit for everyone. Yeah. Like the Olympics or something, like you become so good at what you're doing. You're the pole vaulter, and you're the best pole vaulter, and then boom, you do it, and you show everyone you're so great, and then you've worked towards it based on your skill. Even like pro sports is a little bit more objective in music. Steph Curry really is the best 3-point shooter in the league. He's shown you that he is. He proves it time on Billboard Music #1 has absolutely nothing to do with how good you are at music. You could conceivably be not good at singing, not even that good at songwriting, not good at anything, but whatever reason, you hit a home run and you have like a smash that just connected with the masses. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to be bad either. I'm not saying that music only is bad. It's not bad. It's just not entirely based on merit or on how good it is. For sure. So that makes it difficult to know how to do it again or what you need to do. Like there's so many songs that have hit #1 if you think about it. Like Rude was one of those songs, but there's been numerous ones, and they range from like novelty songs to songs that are more deep, Yeah. I don't even want to give all the examples because I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing other artists and picking favorites for the bunch. You all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Some music is really great, and some music is not really great. But even for the ones that I might identify as not really great because it's entirely subjective, I could be talking, and then there's someone else out there that's like, wait, no, that's my favorite song. I love that artist. I hate this guy who's criticizing it right now because I connected to that song. It means something, right? Yeah. So that's why it's like, but it's not objective, and that's what makes it difficult because like pro sports, Olympics, blah blah blah, surgeries, top surgery, all objective. Pop music entirely subjective.
Yeah, it's kind of like a free for all.
It's a free for So, but and certain things make sense. Like, okay, you want to be as good as you can be at singing and playing, but within reason, right? Like, you don't practice singing until you're so ridiculously good at singing that you get a #1 Billboard hit. Yeah, that's not how it works. You don't even need to be good at singing. You just need good enough to deliver the song that you sing. For sure. Right? And the instruments, same thing. Practice the instrument really hard, but you don't want to practice so hard that you get so ridiculously good that you reach this level of esoteric good. Yeah. Where you live in your own little world and you're doing stuff that is so complicated that people who even care about your instrument you play don't even understand what you're playing. Yeah. Because it's that complicated. That's another thing. It's like, it's all within pop. So if you're going to be good on guitar, make sure you're good on guitar in a way that's still pleasing for people to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, it's this thing, and I struggle with this too because I'm a
Leveling.
nerd musician. I just want to practice and do like weird stuff that I find exciting. But sometimes what excites me is not going to excite someone who doesn't care about that type of thing. You know?
Yeah.
What is it? I had a music teacher who often said, he's like, what did he say? He's like, music is written for people who don't know music.
Was he talking about pop music?
Yeah, no, he was talking about music in general. He's like, because
Is it?
people who enjoy music oftentimes don't find that music so pleasing. He's like, it's the, the obscure stuff,
Yeah,
the stuff that
true,
isn't
man.
so
I
popular
can
that
see
we
why you
find
think that.
pleasing. He's like, you can, everyone's like looking at, I remember the time like Bruno Mars was really big. His song Grenade had just come out, and he's like, music is written for, and that's when he started telling us that. And I remember,
I mean, I see what he's saying. I disagree about that specifically though, because I think Bruno is such a good singer that I'm actually happy that he exists in pop music.
oh yeah,
He's
for sure.
like
Yeah.
an amazing vocalist, right?
Yeah.
But no, I see what he's saying. Like, I don't know, it's tricky, right? Even within that, so much subjectivity. But yeah, you can definitely. I don't think that music is written for people who don't know anything about music necessarily, but it's definitely written to connect to the masses. In which case, it needs to have a lot of hooks in it, and it needs a certain sense of familiarity beyond actually being familiar to them. So the whole idea is this that I've been told in songwriting for a long time. And if you think about this, it's kind of true, but it brings a lot of questions to mind, and that's that upon first listen of a song, you have to be able to know the hook. Yeah. Like if this is, we're talking about a smash. I'm not talking about a song that's just beautiful and really affects you, and you find it beautiful anyway. Because there could be lots of music that does that to you that doesn't go with this formula I'm talking about. I'm talking about a pop smangarang. That's the kind of song that you want to listen to, and even after listening to it one time, the hook is already stuck in your head. You don't got to listen to it 12 times. You got to listen to it 32 times. You listen one time. And we're not talking about a musical genius be able to listen to it one time. We're talking about the average person in the world. Some of them care about music, some of them don't. Most of them kind of like it to a certain extent. They got to be able to sing the hook back to you the first time they hear it.
Yeah.
So that means it generally has to be pretty basic.
Yeah.
That's the reason for the simplicity argument. And that's the reason for people, wanting a simple, concise hook is because you're supposed to be able to sing it after the first time you hear it.
Yeah, that's actually something that Lionel Richie said, that doing that for a song is one of the hardest things to do, to get the perfect hook that somebody can listen to it and just sing it back to you as you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's hard. He's right. It is. There's a skill in it too. That's why he's like, part of me wants to knock it and say okay, that's, not really beautiful. Just because you can sing it the first time doesn't mean that it's inherently good, but it is a skill because you're trying to craft something that is unique to a certain extent, right? It's still going to have to be somewhat derivative because if it's extremely unique, someone's not going to be able to sing it back to you the first time. Sure. It's probably going to have to be about love gained or love lost. Yeah, it'll probably be very concise and it's going to be pleasing to the ears, to most people's ears. That's the idea. It can be in multiple genres, but that's the principle's the same. It's like you listen to it and boom, you can sing it back.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
Oh no, I mean I didn't either until someone told me about it years ago. I mean, because I've been trying to write songs, and some of them I write just for the purpose of my own feeling good about it. Like, okay, I'm proud of this. I don't even care if this goes out in the world. It means something to me. And then other times you really are writing with the purpose of making money. Like you're writing to try to have a grand slam. You're not writing just because you enjoy making music. You're writing for the purpose of having a successful song. And under those circumstances, you kind of need to understand what you're looking for, because you don't want to just be shooting in the dark. You need to have some kind of reference point. So
for sure,
listen to songs that have done well. You just got to reference them. Be like, okay, here, that's this song, smash. Why? Why is it smash? And then you can kind of see. And it's usually based on this idea that it needs to be catchy. It needs to be able to sing it the first time you hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
How much time do we have here?
We're at over an hour now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, please also, I'm sorry if I said anything that. Yeah, I trust your guys' judgment. If you feel like I'm saying something that's not good or negative or something, feel free to edit that out or whatever.
Oh no,
I think you did pretty well to clarify that you weren't trying to go out.
Yeah, no, I was trying to, but I realized too, because I'm just being honest with you guys. But by being honest, sometimes I feel like I have a bit of a jaded outlook sometimes that I don't necessarily want to.
I mean, really, aren't we all a little though?
Yeah.
Should we wrap up?
I think so. Okay. This has been Two Latin Brothers Podcast, guys. We'll put Mark's Instagram and music in the description. If you'd like to shout out anything.
Muchas gracias, hermanos. Un placer.
Awesome. I'll leave all of Mark's stuff in the description. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Always.
Always. Bye.
Bye.